It says here, I had a miscarriage at work and I was forced and bullied into staying. Oh my God.
Dang, what is the defense? The story period? That's, oh my.
To take a chef.
Gross. Girl, time to find a new job.
Hey Besties, it's your favorite caffeinated, medicated, and never hydrated nurse, Nurse John, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. I beg your pardon. Hello, Besties. Another week, another podcast together. I miss you guys so much. I hope you guys are doing well. Wherever you are listening right now, at home, at work, driving. Don't drive, actually. I mean, like, you can drive. You can listen to a podcast and drive. That's fine, yeah? I think it's actually a good thing. While you're driving, while you're doing laundry, grocery shopping, wherever you are right now, I hope life is good. I hope life is treating you well. And if it's not, remember, there's another day to try again, as long as you keep trying. Anyways, you guys, I am currently right now in Portland, Maine, my first ever time here in the Lobster City. And I've been loving it. And the only reason why I'm here is because I just had a show here in Portland, Maine, a sold out show with a bunch of nurses. And actually, I'm with two of the funniest, two of the loveliest people that I've met in social medias. The nurse Daddy Colton right here, and Daddy Dazo. And they joined me here in Portland, Maine, and we had a blast, actually.
Slay, we did have a blast. Yes, we're in Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon.
Not Portland. In Oregon, Portland, Maine. And we had a performance. How'd you like the performance, Daddy Dazo?
It was great. It was my 9-year-old moment when I started dancing to Madonna. Because when I was a little kid, my dad would say, "Why are you dancing to that music? It's for girls."
It's for bad bitches. Yeah, And the thing is, Daddy Dazo had his bad bitch moment on stage.
It was great. I mean, I was honestly just have to be up there just shaking my booty.
You were shaking your ass, and
I was, and that was my game plan the whole time, was to just find every straight man in the audience and shake my ass on him.
And then we're having fun. We practiced it once, and we ate that really good.
45 minutes into the show. Can you imagine?
I know, and everyone loves the Daddies. They just know the Daddies are the hottest out there. You know what I mean? But yes, another episode, and I know you guys probably already know the Nurse Daddies, but I think before we start this whole podcast, though, for today, which is very interesting because it's not just introduction or getting to know. We're actually going to bring you guys stories that you're probably going to want to know and want to hear. And we are basically your therapist for this week's episode of the I Beg Your Pardon podcast. But before all of that, if you're listening right now, make sure that you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you share this amazing episode and all the other episodes that you love of the I Beg Your Pardon. Leave us a 5-star review and make sure that you tell your friends to listen to this, because this is free therapy for every single one of you guys. And also, if you haven't gotten your tickets for the Short Stab Tour, which you should, because honestly, we are all having fun. What is your guys' favorite part of the Short Stab Tour?
What's my favorite? The dancing.
The dancing.
And of course, the warm and friendly people that were there, the nurses who were on their days off. And I think maybe part of Portland's hospital system has been short staffed last night because they were all there.
Oh my God, absolutely. What's your favorite part of that, Colton?
I think my favorite part, I have two things in mind. One thing is just seeing all the nurses and healthcare workers getting the night off to hang out and just kind of, release and be together. And the second one, my favorite part of the show is when you do a little bit of a Q&A.
The Q&A.
Yes.
With the boyfriends, with the husband, with the partners. That was really fun.
I'm trying to watch them get kind of, squirm in their seat.
Roasted, exactly. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, and our North American tour is actually finishing soon. So if you still haven't gotten your tickets, go to www.nursejohnshows.com. Again, that's www.nursejohnshows.com. Get your tickets and come see us at a Short Staff Tour. It's a fun night. Everyone's just basically every single one in that room is just people who wants to relate and who wants to laugh for a night and forget all of our problems because they're not going to go away. But one thing is for sure is that having fun will stay in your memory, just like the bad ones. You know what I mean? So go get your tickets. Come see me on the short staff tour. And you're probably going to see the Daddies a lot more. Okay? So if you love the Daddies and you want to see them on stage, it's your chance, baby. Another thing is if you guys are wondering what scrubs we bitches wear, it's the one and only Gardmalade. That's GARDEMALADE. And you should definitely go get your scrubs in Gardmalade because we love them. They're so comfy. They're so stylish. They release so much cute colors. In this past few weeks, they've been releasing the what's it called? Peach. We love this peach. They released that almost like matcha green,
Lilac and
moss green.
moss
green.
that was very beautiful. Really love it. And so go get your scrubs now. What do you guys what do you call this? Discount code so they can go get them.
Nurse Daddies 10. So you when you go to their website, use Nurse Daddies 10. When you go to pay on your when you check out, apply the code Nurse Daddies 10.
Exactly. And that is Nurse Daddies 10. NURSEDADDIES 10. So you can get a discount. Yes, that is. And also, if you didn't know, I also have my first ever line of skincare that is Philly Skin, Philly for Filipino, duh. Then my first ever product is an under eye serum, which targets one of our biggest insecurity in healthcare because we work too much and we're burned the fuck out. That is dark circles, and that serum targets your dark circles. Go get yourself now some Philly Skin at www.philliskin.com. Now, since all of that is done, it's time for us to head to, I think we got to give a little introduction of you guys because I'm pretty sure, there are some people out there who haven't heard of the Daddies, which they definitely do need to hear about you guys. So I think an introduction from you guys would be the best way to start this whole podcast. Let's start with Daddy Colton.
Okay. Yeah, so we are the Nurse Daddies. I guess I can kind of talk about how we met.
Right.
So we were working together in the emergency department in Boston. I was a travel nurse, and I just kind of started recording Daddy Dazzle one day at work as kind of a joke, post the video, and it kind of just took off from there. It was by total accident, and that's how the Nurse Daddies was born. And yeah, that's how we met.
Oh my God. And so for you, the nurse Daddy Dazzle.
How we met actually was he was a brand new traveler to our emergency room department. Emergency room.
Where'd you guys work?
So we work at the trauma center in
Boston. Trauma center. My God, you guys are trauma ER.
Yes, we do trauma and emergency at one of the world's best academic centers.
Period.
Okay. Yeah, he was a traveler. This was towards the end of the pandemic. Yeah, and so all the girls were buzzing like, "Oh, there's a new traveler. He's kind of cute." I'm like, okay. And he was staring at my butt. That's why I wasn't really, but it was kind of impressive. He was sitting on the other end of the desk, and I looked over. I'm like, oh, that's a new traveler. And I kind of wanted to be friendly with him, but I didn't even know how to break the ice. I saw he was wearing a ring, so I said, "Oh, that's a nice ring." And then he was like, "Oh, it's my engagement ring." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Period.
Yes, but then of course my mind was like, married to what? And I was like, is the person a nurse as well? Is the fiance a nurse? Do you feel fiance or fiance? No, fiance. Yeah, I'm not saying. And he was like, "Oh, he's a flight attendant." So then I was like, "Oh, welcome to the family, another Mo." So that's how we became friends, and then he told me he's from Arizona. And, and one thing led to another. We were making trips to New York.
We were traveling actually together before the Nurse Daddies even came about, right?
Right, yeah. And then I took them to New York. They went to see their first Broadway show, which was Moulin Rouge. Okay, it was that. Yeah.
Well,
Great. Yeah, and then, and then here we are.
the rest is history.
The rest is history. Everybody knows. To me, he was filming a lot of, your videos.
Years ago. And and honestly, shout out to Daddy Colton for filming you because honestly, that was the funniest freaking thing ever. Because you are the most Filipino daddy ever. And so, like, when you just scream at him in Tagalog, it's so Filipino motherly.
Yeah, I think so. Yawa, because yawa. And I speak
Yeah. Wait a second. What did you say?
yawa.
Yawa.
That was just the yawa thing yawa. Pisting yawa. You know what that?
Yeah, fisting yawa. Oh my. So it's basically like a curse word.
Yeah, it's a curse word, but it's curse word in Cebuano.
Oh, so yeah.
So no, it's not Tagalog. Tagalog is putak ina mo.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. It's okay. We can actually cuss in here. People, whoever's listening right now, we can cuss in here and nobody's probably gonna know, but it's basically fucking. And anyway, so you guys met, you guys became a tandem, and people love the tandem. Honestly, I think you guys like made it so fun for a lot of nurses. I think you guys as a niche is so much needed because it shows that you know you can be friends with people at work in nursing because there is a saying that you should not be friends with people at work, right? Because it's hard and you don't know these people, and if their intentions are good. But honestly, like I said, even in my tour, I keep telling people, I was like, listen, these people that you work with, you see these people more than you see your family.
True.
And there's people, you share so much trauma with these people, and there's no one else apart from your coworkers who would understand how heavy the shit you've seen, you've heard, you've felt, you've all of this. Because none of the people that is not healthcare in your life would ever understand unless they've
Right.
seen it with you.
Because I mean, you can't expect other people to understand if they're not seeing that, and that's kind of what I tell any nursing student who asks us for advice. I always like the first thing I say is to find your friends and your people in school because nobody else is going to understand what you're going through. So yeah, I think it's important to have that friendship and the camaraderie, like especially with people that you're having to work with and see every single day.
That's so true.
Yeah, and a collective effort to really work on certain things that, as like when you're working together, you just kind of bond on certain. I mean, I think it's a trauma bond.
It is trauma.
Yeah, that makes you really work well together. But sometimes, you may not be able to agree with each other, but you always find that little something that you agree on, you compromise in certain things, and that's just how it is.
And I guess, that's kind of like how friendship is anyways. It's compromise. Like, you will never always agree with things. Just like in nursing, like, we all have our ways of doing things, which is totally fine. But at the end of the day, I think we have one common goal in nursing, and that is to make sure that this patients gets the care that they need.
Exactly.
Like, we fight and everything, but at the end of the night, like, at the end of the fucking shift, we're like, do you guys want to get mimosa? Or do you guys want to fucking eat? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's literally is trauma bond, and like that's the essence. That's the whole essence of why our community is so tightly knit together. Is because no matter how shitty our day was, at the end of the day, we just laugh at it because that's the only way we could actually do cope with the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Are you also a ED trauma nurse?
So it's actually true in my, how I tell my jokes of like, I've been to the ED for like 2-3 months. It is true
Yeah.
because I was in med-surg transplant for almost 3.5 years. And that's kind of like where I started. But I was like, I was working there as a tech before.
Oh, right. So you kind of know.
Yeah, I kind of know everything. And, I did my clinicals there too. And they, how like when you work in certain unit, you just get used to it. People kind of love you, and they're like, hey, like if you graduate as a nurse, maybe you want to come work here and stuff like that.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and so I was just like, you know what? Let me come work in here. I already know everyone. I already know how everything is. Like, it's easier for myself to work in med-surg. And so I'm more of a med-surg more than ER. But like, the funny thing is like, and people don't realize how med-surg is basically ER, psych, fucking cardiac, fucking labor and delivery, fucking every
rolled into one. Yes,
exactly. So it's basically ED, but you don't get the extra stuff that you get from ED, but it's just harder.
Yeah, I started med surge. Yeah, my first job because the same thing. I was a student capstone on a med surge unit, and that's where I started. And then once the pandemic hit, I went into the ED, and then I went to the ICU, and then I went back to the ED, and that's when I traveled, and that's when was when I went back to travel nursing. Yeah.
And your history, Daddy Dasso, of like working, where have you worked the most?
So I've done accident and emergency in the Middle East, as well as doing acute psych care. And then when I moved to the US, I was a night supervisor at a skilled nursing facility for a little bit. And then I did emergency nursing. That's what I did.
So you've always been in the ED?
Yes. Yeah. There was a little bit of a break because when I first came to America, I had to study for the exam, had to sit down and then in fact I spent a semester doing clinicals in Chicago because I'm not sure if it's 2001 or 2000 that Illinois had a new law where people from foreign countries, graduates of foreign nursing schools, needs to go back for a semester of clinical nursing. So I did that clinicals for one semester, and then from then on, I went to do skilled nursing facility. Then I did that was a short stint, and then I did emergency room.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So anyway, so you've been basically always in the chaos.
Always amidst chaos. I think I thrive in organized chaos, which is why I love emergency room nursing. I could never do anything else other than emergency room nursing, I think. I mean, I've been in this institution where we're at right now. I've been there for the past 17 years since I moved to Boston from Chicago. So I don't think I see myself retiring maybe from there.
Because you're Filipino. You never retire.
I know, but I am breaking that. Because in 5 years, I'm going to try and retire. My hospital allows us to do an 11-month sabbatical. And that if you want to come back, you have to make sure you have to come back before the year ends. And you can keep your seniority, I think. And then you can go back to work. But you will need to probably be rehired if the position is still open, or you can go somewhere else. But at least you keep your seniority before the end of the year.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow, that's insane. I mean, how long have you been a nurse, Daddy Colton?
I graduated in 2018, so it'll be 7 years this year.
Oh my God, you've been a nurse longer than I did.
Oh, really?
Well, how old are you?
29.
I'm 29. So you're a 95 baby.
96. I was born in January of 96.
What? I'm older?
You are?
I had to repeat some high school when I moved to Canada, so like that was harder for me. That's why like I'm backed up with everything.
Oh, so you were born in 95.
I was born 95. I'm turning 30 in like 3 weeks.
But 30, do not ask me about age, but let me just, before we go past. Can we pause for a minute because I think I need to look at my makeup. I'm done.
That's good. Okay, guys. That again was born.
Everyone,
my mother.
So sorry, but like that does have to pause. Okay, go pause. But Daddy Dazo,
yeah.
How long have you been a nurse? We don't have to.
Okay, long before you were born, both of you.
Not long before, just about a year before.
Oh my! What? Like I've been a nurse since 1994.
Okay, so it's like a year or two.
A year before I was created.
Yeah, I know.
But look at your glowing skin.
But look at your glowing skin.
Okay, Lola. This is another episode for a podcast. Daddy Nazo's skincare routine.
Okay, so that is nice to know. And you guys got a little introduction of the two daddies. They're amazing. They're such genuine people, and they're just so happy to exist, basically. And they're, if you guys haven't followed them, you should definitely come and follow Daddies because they're amazing. I love them so much. Anyways, we are heading to the best part of this podcast because this podcast, actually, we're going to read you guys stories. And for this episode of the I Beg Your Pardon podcast, we will be reading stories of bullying at workplace. Yeah, we went from happy to very dark and negative, but this is something. but very important that I think we have to talk about because we have like basically 3 generations of nurses here from boomer.
I'm sorry. I'm like yawning.
You know what? It's actually like 11 p.m. and Daddy Dasso's bedtime is there 4 hours ago. And he's tweaking right
Oh, you're so true. I go to bed at like the latest like 9:30. But mind you, I had to be up by 3 because I usually pick up 4 a.m. shifts. He's crazy.
Yeah, I do not.
4 a.m. He's so Filipino with this like attitude and ways. But anyway, so we're gonna be reading you guys stories that you guys have submitted and have shared. And thank you guys so much. All of these stories are gonna stay anonymous. And we're just gonna be reading these stories, and we're gonna give you guys some of our advices, experience from working as a nurse, and what you could do for yourself. And let's hop on it. Let's hop on it. Okay,
Let's go.
I'm gonna do the first. I'm gonna read you guys the first story. So our first story is, it says here, I had a miscarriage at work and I was forced and bullied into staying. Oh my God.
Dang, what is the
That's the story, period. That's, oh my,
To take a shift.
gross. Girl, time to find a new job.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
First of all, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you had a miscarriage. And secondly, I apologize in part of our nursing community because those motherfuckers literally made you stay after having a miscarriage. That's fucked up. Okay?
Yep.
My first advice for you, girl, is that you didn't deserve those people, or you didn't deserve to be in that job. Because if they care more about you taking a shift than you literally losing something that was part of you and that probably affected you physically, mentally, and emotionally, those people, there's place in hell for those people. That's all I can say.
Sure.
Here you go, Dad.
Arian, what would I say? I mean, sometimes you really have to stand up for yourself, you know? If you feel like you've been wrong, like that, a miscarriage while at work, I would just say, my feet on the ground. I said, I am going home. I cannot do this shift. And that's it. Don't be bullied into finishing your shift. Because why? For me, all of us nurses, I feel that we're just a number. As soon as, we do something wrong, we can be easily let go. So I should I'm sorry, I can't do the shift today. I need to go home.
Period. Daddy call.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say, obviously go find a new job. But I think, putting this into perspective that maybe, this person supports a family. It's not that easy to just like walk out and go find something new. I think that's just, it's a really terrible situation to be in. And the best advice I would give is to, not work in an environment like that, and to seek jobs elsewhere, honestly, because nobody should be treated like that.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible working condition. And unfortunately, there are places I think like that all over the country.
That's very insane.
Now miscarriaging. Oh God.
Sorry, but I hope you're fine. I hope you're fine now. I hope you found a job that actually treats you right, and you deserve to be treated right, and we all deserve to be treated right as a human being before we are nurses. Period. That I call next story.
Okay. My boss used to slap my hand when she didn't like the way I held the syringes. The day of my horrific car accident, I broke my back. My boss called me back after I told her I wasn't going to be in that day, told me I better be there that Saturday in 3 days because we were short-staffed. She called me the wrong name for 9 years.
Wow. Well, there's how many? Oh my, yeah. Let me count. Okay, first slapping the back of the hand.
Calling back after I told her I wasn't going to be that day.
And then not knowing your name for 3 years. I'm like, okay, this is a girl, bye.
Yeah.
And where are these places? Are you at piano school? And that was back in the day.
You know that?
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me, where are you? No. Which hospital is that? Make sure that the hospital will get the name. And look, don't send nurses.
I just understand, like, how are we in 2025 and these things are still happening? Like,
I have no words.
Yeah. I think there's just like really shitty facility, and if you live in a small town and the only hospital that is available to you is just that hospital, it's hard. It's hard to get out from that situation.
Yeah, point. Yeah.
But also, like, again, like, we cannot really speak for these people's shoes because we're not in their life and stuff. But honestly, like, if you're in a small city and you have a hospital and the only hospital you have is a shitty hospital, girl, time to fucking travel. Like, time to get out of that fucking city.
Let you let something.
Like, do something. Like, again, like, you don't want to turn your passion into something that you hate just because you're scared that this is the only job that you will ever get. Because I think a lot of, like, nurses are scared to leave a job because, like, they're like, oh, I've been working here like 5 years ago, or like 5 years now, or 10 or 20. Like, girl, like, and so is so many nurses who are leaving 2 weeks after. If you're not happy, leave.
Right. And nurses need to realize that we really are in the driver's seat as far as, like, there's jobs everywhere.
Driver's seat?
Like, there are literally jobs anywhere you want to go.
And that's he's been advocating for the longest time that I've known him. You've always advocated for that. Like, if you're not happy with what you're doing right now. Yeah, right?
We spend so much of our time at work. I mean, right? Like, why be so miserable and unhappy at what you're doing? Like, that there's really no...
There's so much options out there. Like, you could really pick your, whatever battle you want to pick. Yeah.
I love that. Now, Daddy, it's not afraid to read this.
What is this? This is very long. It's enough.
Is your eye... It's
okay. People, I didn't have to say that. I was about to take this off because I really have to, like...
Oh, you really have to...
Yeah, it's focused.
Oh, okay. This is going to be a hard one. Guys, give that to...
It's like 2 paragraphs, like, what, over 120 words. I'll make it maybe 250. Okay, this is from someone. I don't know where she's at, but when I was a PCT in an ICU, I had a nurse hunt me down on my break and berate me in the hospital cafeteria because I didn't get her AccuCheck on every hour patient.
Okay.
Wow. She can do this to herself? I had collected all of them up until this point, even though it was a shared responsibility. Understood. I told her in the time it took her to hunt me down on a different floor, she could have gotten everyone's AccuChecks. Oh. She's spicy. She's spicy too. Never had another problem with her. This is one instance of many with various nurses, but I always stood up for myself. Good job, girlfriend. Respectfully. Once I graduated, I vowed to never treat anyone like that. The hospital took the majority of our PCTs away in the ICU, but my girls always had my back because I never treated them poorly and only asked for help when I actually needed it. Kindness pays off. When the housekeeping staff came around to clean the COVID rooms, I would gear up and go to the room to hand the trash out the door and mop the room so they didn't have to go in every room. Wow. Did you get a Daisy?
Oh, but girl, are you trying to fish for Daisy right here?
Oh, I know. They're just hanging on the walls, okay? One day, the hopper in my room stuck open. I couldn't hear it because of the negative pressure and didn't realize until it was in the hallway. I was especially busy that day and my sweet housekeeper cleaned it up for me. Oh, she already had all the answers too. She's probably just sharing her experiences with how some nurses. Yes, I know. Like, if they're busy, like, okay, if they're busy and you want to do your AccuCheck every hour, especially because that's probably a patient that's ICU bound, or, oh, she's in the ICU, she's a PCT, so they're hyperglycemia. You have to check every hour because the patient is on an insulin drip. But, for you to find the person to do it and to go down to the cafeteria, I'm pretty sure the cafeteria is not on the same floor as the ICU. You could have done it.
And that is a team effort, girl. Nurses, yeah, it is within a nurse's scope to check a blood sugar. And just like she said, her hunting her down, she literally could have done it herself.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, it is actually the nurse's job.
Yeah, and it's a shared responsibility. I really understand that. But if we're all sitting and not doing anything, then I would ask you to do it. But if I know you're busy, if you're on your break, I would gladly do it. And make sure that your badge still works. Because when you scan that barcode, that never cut the time. Maybe right?
Mine doesn't always work.
Exactly. And another thing is that I think I just want to recognize every CNA, PCT, LTNs, every single one of you guys. Don't be pissed at me that I didn't mention you, but you know what I mean. Every single one, the healthcare worker, we're all equal in it, and we all deserve to be respected. And I just want to give a shout out to our CNAs, PCTs, all these techs, because honestly, it is true that there are nurses out there who take advantages of these people and say like, well, that's your job now because you are basically helping me. These people are not your bitches. These people are not lower than you. These people are here to help you balance the work so that you guys don't drown. But that doesn't mean you're gonna sit there in the nursing station, let these people do that. Like, I would never in a million fucking years sit there and watch my CNA fucking struggle alone if I am not busy. And again, this is the context of if you're busy and you're really doing something, sure. But like, if you are there and you have a minute, it doesn't matter if you haven't sit down. I think like, again, like I would not just sit down in there and watch them do it because it's easier for me to help these people so that we can both sitting down. Like if me and my CNAs and my techs are sitting down, we know that we did our fucking job. And that's like the best feeling ever.
Fair. When I was like where I'm from, I know some nursing schools still do this, but a lot of them, like I said, back where I was from, they would require you to have your CNA before you could even apply to nursing school. And I think that was actually very beneficial for people to see and work in that job before being a nurse, because it's like a, remember where you came from type of thing, where it's just skipping over that step and never understanding what it's like to like be in that role and have nurses treat you like less than.
Exactly. Oh, we love you. And like, we hope that you got a daisy.
Yeah, or a tulip. I think it's a tulip for the CNAs. Yes, I think it's a tulip. Yeah. Yeah.
Tulip.
Well, she's a nurse now.
She's the nurse right yet.
The nurse now.
She'll get a daisy.
And that's good that you take those negativity and turn it into something positive, because you should not end up the way you were treated. Because if you end up the way people treated you, you're exactly the same thing as them. Like, you don't give it back. You turn those negativity and make it positive so that this, so other future nurses, techs, or whatever don't have to go through that, because it's shitty to go through that, I think. Now, next. Had a boss write me up every single day for random crap because she didn't like me. Why? Because I refused to falsify documents for her. Oh, this is not a nurse. I work at an airport. You can go to jail for 6 years if you falsify records. So no, thank you. I ended up quitting and reporting her to ethics, but she still works there. All but one of my fellow supervisor ended up quitting too. It was a hot mess.
Girl, yeah, it's like sometimes you just gotta protect yourself. That's all you can do.
Right, and the funny thing is, like, this is a worker from the airport, but it's so relatable into nursing because it's true. Like, there are people out there who would ask you to falsify shit, and I'm like, baby, I am not risking my license, myself, and anything that I've worked hard for just so I can protect. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you make friends with these people treat you right and whatnot, but if it starts going down in a rabbit hole of like, oh, like I pull a fucking Dilaudid and please don't tell anyone, I don't not fucking do that.
That's
like
their fair shit.
That's a hot mess right there. That's basically,
Not going to jail free.
illegal.
Right. But you could back Tylenol, can you?
I mean, I've taken Tylenol at work. I've taken nausea pills at work. And the funny thing is, like, Canadian healthcare system and American healthcare system is so different. Like, that's honestly one thing I can fill you guys up in is like, when I moved to America, I just realized how you guys basically live on suing people. I'm sorry to say this because this is actually true, because every single fucking billboard that you guys have is like,
For lawyers.
Call Anthony something for do you have an Uber problem? Sue. Do you have walking? Sue. Like,
If your family member had acquired or ulcers while in the hospital, please call 1-800 stitch me up.
Nobody qualified for compensation.
you might know. Like, it's so it's such a capitalist
Oh, of course. Yeah,
fucking country, because we don't have this. Like, we don't get sued for. And again, there are shit that happens in the hospital that people in the public would never ever fucking know. And to judge us nurses for that, you gotta be in our shoes first before you can tell me how to do my fucking job. And period. Period. Next. Look, sorry.
Oh, all right.
When did you get all these questions today?
Oh my God, every single day.
Yeah, it was in the DMs, girl.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I had been in the service industry, same girl, for many years. I'll never forget the day that I chose pizza over salad for lunch. I was in my early 20s and had lost a ton of weight after having my first child. One day, I decided to order pizza for my lunch instead of my typical salad. My boss took notice of this, proceeded to call me a pig, and started making... Oh, I know, the noises. This is really sad, but I'm sorry. Making snorting noises. I wish I could say that was the one and only time he did it. So I started telling my patrons, and they started leaving interesting Google reviews.
Okay.
That is very inappropriate.
Very. And sad.
And good for you for making, healthier choices. And then for somebody to then, degrade you like that, that's not okay.
It's actually a reflection of the other person's being there. There's nothing wrong with you. It's him. There's something wrong with him.
And I think a lot, one thing I realize in life as I grow older is that miserable people
Will take you down.
will do anything to make someone who's not miserable. And that is just something that you cannot change. And it should never affect you because, again, it doesn't describe who you are. It describes them and the struggles that they're going through. And the problem is they cannot handle it themselves. They have to, pass it on to somebody else's who's actually doing a better job than them. Sorry. That's all. Next.
Oh, is it my turn?
Oh my God, you always get...
I get the long ones. Oh, we just want to hear you read.
Yeah, we just want to hear you.
All right. Okay. All right. Here's a question. What is this? I'm not sure. Had a nurse come get me on my break. Oh my God, another break. Oh my God.
No one's getting break.
Oh wait, no one's getting. Where is this hospital? I don't know. Maybe they came from the same hospital.
Maybe.
I'm trying to say you needed to go change a pillow. Oh, come on. A pillowcase for a resident that vomited on it when I was a CNA. I vowed to never be that type of nurse. She didn't get far when I stared at her like she had two heads. I told her I was on my break and I would not be leaving break. She found someone else to do it. Other than that, had an MD that wanted me written up for calling to clarify an order he wrote in the chart no one could read. This was also against policy of that hospital. All physicians were required to enter orders electronically. Thankfully, the charge nurse and manager told him no.
I was going to say, where are you working where doctors are writing orders? What?
Who writes orders?
And it's true, it's the audacity for people to be following these employees to give them tasks. I don't understand.
Oh, okay. So many
And to be on your break and for someone to bother you on your break, just change you out, guys. Some people just, more than that, people thinking that you're lazy for not changing that pillowcase, they're actually the lazy one because they could have done it themselves, but they had to ask someone to do it. How much time and energy do you have to find someone on their break just to ask them to change the pillow that you could have done?
Right.
What the fuck is that?
That is actually insane.
Other than that, also maybe I'm not sure. Maybe the person is a slave driver, and
What?
the slave driver. You know how sometimes people just think that I could just order you to do this, do that, do this, do that.
Okay.
People like that understand.
It's true. Some people
Driver. That's very. Thing is not even.
No, it's okay.
Correct.
English is not our first language, okay? We use what we can.
Anytime he says this to me because whenever we travel, he irons my clothes. Or if I ask him to, is it because I'm Filipino or we're white and I'm a brown boy? I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to iron.
We were taught to iron our clothes since we were chill.
Especially if you have a military trained father. Okay.
Oh my God, your dad is in the military?
He went to some sort.
Some sort. Okay, that makes sense.
He ironed my scrubs today.
Next story. I experienced terrible bullying from a ward manager when I first qualified in the UK. Oh my God, we're going to the UK. Nurse John and the Daddies are going to London, England. Oh, Spent weeks and weeks crying and tried to understand her behavior of slagging me off in front of the patient and telling me how rubbish. Oh my god, this is so English.
Rubbish. Yeah.
Rubbish.
Yes.
And slow I was in front of the whole nursing staff on ward rounds. I tried to talk to her about things. She just got worse and threatened to ruin my reputation and threatened me if I left her ward. I went to see the union. They told me she was too valuable and got good results, and that I was newly qualified. I left the job, got myself a job in a different department, wrote an article on bullying, submitted it to the British Nursing Magazine. Oh my god. And got published and paid for it.
Bro, for the job. How you do it, right? That's how you do it. That's how.
I took a copy to the ward where she worked and left it on her desk in her office.
Oh my god! Wow, what a slap to review days. Real shame.
It's the pettiness for me. I'm fearful. But like, you know what, you guys, like, you did us very correctly. You went up your chain of command. Nobody was helping you. You got the hell out, and then look what you did. I ran.
Yes.
And I love this. And this is the kind of petty I am, I guess, to like people who doesn't like me, is that I would never revenge on someone. My revenge is my success.
Yes,
Because
there's something that says about it. Oh, damn, you know.
like sucks, like
This,
you know,
this true. What is that? I forgot. I read somewhere. I just don't remember. I'm old and it's late.
but yeah, like success speaks louder than anything that you do. Like again, you were like, mind your business, do your job, do whatever the hell you need. Again, people who are struggling with their own stuff needs to find like a way to make other feels that way, because they cannot be the only one doing it. And like getting affected by those people will just like, stop you from like progressing and growing as a person. So you just keep going. You keep going, you mind your business, and you do your stuff, and karma will come back to you. That's basically it. Yep. I love that. Next.
I keep almost reading the names.
I know.
I know, I was taught to. And this is from students. Okay. I was a student nurse, and it was our first day of clinical. My charting was not perfect, well, of course. My clinical instructor shouted at me in front of my classmates, asking why my charting was not according to how he wanted it, word for word. Some people are just mean and unprofessional. Okay, first of all, mean instructors are the worst. And I'm trying to think from my nursing school experience. I don't think I ever had any mean instructors, thankfully, in nursing school. But I feel like especially at that point in your career, like it is just a special kind of evil to be traumatizing people already, as we're like taking in so much information, and you're not expected to even know how would you even know how to charge that or nursing stuff.
Yeah, but others actually thrive in that environment where they feel like they could eat their young or something to the effect, or even like, it's a badge of honor for them that people fear them. Why? Like, like instilling fear in your students doesn't mean that they'll learn better and they'll learn faster. It's just creates fear.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like fear mongering. Why do you do that? I don't know why.
Creating like trauma and stuff.
Right. And it just creates trauma for these kids. Like especially if they're learning, you should be at least, but I think, it also goes back to the generation where if they're strict and stern, people learn better. Because I think I learned that from experience with my dad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of like just a Filipino experience. Think. Honestly, though, like it's true. Like when I became an instructor, I'm an instructor, but like I've had that situation where I remember one of my clinical instructor, which she was actually basically the head of the Department of Nursing at that point. And I remember struggling with care plans, which you will never fucking use. Just to let you know, never fucking use a care plan because you don't even got time to fucking like sit down and chart. So care plans don't exist. Okay, I'm so sorry. And like to the very, very nitpicky, like, oh, what care plan is important? Tell me that.
Not important.
Tell me that when we are fully fucking staffed. Because busy as fucking work. Honestly, in nursing now, you just try to make it alive for yourself and for your patient at this point. That's the whole truth about it.
I have that experience when I was in college. This was I think the most difficult semester. This is medical surgical nursing. We call it nursing 103. It's the first It's the first semester on your third year in nursing school. In our instructor was the dean of nursing. Oh my god! And she was like notorious, like known to like literally yell at you. And we have graded recitation where you have to stand up, if and answer her questions, and kind of like she, not changed. I think she's still alive. I saw her last time at a reunion. Anyway. Yes, this was like kind of her. Vividly remember her face and how she was like, "No, Mr. Dazzler, that's not the correct answer." I was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I gave you the right answer. I know it was top. It was about prostaglandins." Can you imagine? I still remember.
What prostaglandins? That's just goes to show that sticks with
Yeah, it stuck with me because I was kind of traumatized by it. And then literally before the class ended, I raised my hand. I said, "Dean." We call her Dean because she was the Dean of Nursing. "I think you were wrong when you told me that did this and that, yada, yada, yada." And she's like, "Okay." I don't know. I think sometimes you just have to stand up for yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, there are just people out there really that they never ever want to be wrong, even though they're wrong. They have a tendency. Again, it's trauma that you've kind of like grown when you were a child. That's why, like, honestly, when I got into therapy, like, one thing I've learned is that a lot of the reason why you are the way you are is because of your childhood. And everything goes back to when you were a kid and what happened when you were a kid. And so for all the people who's making fun of this, in TikTok, they're showing like gentle parenting for kids. Like, it's okay. Like, you can hit. It's fine for now, because that's actually how kids are. Like, it's fine. But I think raising your kid in a gentle way and more of like an open way, instead of like this very fearful, like almost like a, what do you call this? Military ways of raising kids. Like, I'm your parent. I'm like strict and very like, I'm your parent. I know everything is right. This and this and this. It changes everything for the kid when they grow up, because they become more kind. There's no trauma built into them. And like, it lessens how their personality is when they start going out in public, socializing and stuff like that.
It's very true. I'm currently unpacking all this in therapy, so I will.
Oh my God, you're in therapy too. Oh my God, yes, therapy is so nice. You guys, you should try it. Are you in therapy, Daddies, or are you just on like shopping therapy?
Travel, shopping, and dining therapy. And yeah, Daddy Colton always tells me it's not a badge of honor that you're not a therapist. I'm sorry.
Because I never had to go to therapy. Okay, well, I do.
Yeah,
so
I do. And one thing I can tell you, Daddy Dazo, is like, learning to go to therapy was a struggle to me too, because growing as a Filipino, having the same culture that we have, therapy makes you feel like, as a Filipino, is that you're fucking insane. You're not insane. You just have flaws that you need to work on, and sometimes a stranger just has to tell you that. Like, the same exact things. Like, what I've learned in therapy is like, there are things that I tell myself that it doesn't work, but someone who's a stranger to my life telling it to me actually fucking works. And I don't know what the fucking psychological shit from that, but it does work.
yeah.
So go to therapy. Period. And shopping too. I think that's a shopping therapy, retail therapy, vacation therapy, and like food therapy works still.
I think so too.
Yeah. You just have to have the means for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Next. Yes. Being told I was the wrong color for the job. Oh God.
Sounds illegal.
I work for a large school district and had a great relationship with the students. It was an awful blow to my self-esteem, even though I knew I was the best choice for the job. Okay, so first of all, it's 2025.
Right.
We all exist. But we also have to, I guess, just, what do you call this? I'm losing my shit. Recognize the fact that racism does exist, and it does exist for us, like minorities and people of colors in North America. It is true, because like, I remember one time, like, it was like subtle microaggression of like racism, of like, I remember going to a patient's room and like the wife and my patient was like, "Oh my God." Like I was in the Vietnam War. You know that my joke in my thing, my comedy, it's true. They're like, "Oh my God, like my husband fought in the Vietnam War, but these people are so nice."
But he said, so I'm like, I don't do nails. Like, please, I'm the wrong Asian.
I don't do nails. I clean asses. I'm the wrong Asian. I was like, it's so funny because like the Indians are the Uber drivers.
Oh my God.
Or Vietnamese are the nail techs. The Filipino are the ass wipers.
That's weird.
Like,
It's even like the same thing if like when like a male walks into the room and like they immediately think it's like it's doctor. It's like girl, like or it's like
Yeah, most the older patients, the older population thinks that every male person in healthcare is a doctor and every woman is a nurse. Even like the female doctors, they call them nurse. I'm like, no, that's your doctor. I'm your nurse. She's like, huh? Like, no. But she's so young. Like, yes, and she's a woman. Yes, she's your doctor.
they're like so stuck in that.
yeah.
But I think it's the older generation. But it's very true with, especially, I know I'm color. I'm a person of color, and we are a country's biggest export.
Not as being a sport like she. Now though we got tariff and it's gonna take a lot for you guys to export Filipino nurses. Okay, 25%. Yeah, now it's a lot of tall, you guys. Mix.
Okay. All right. My very first nursing job, my unit manager gave me the worst patients every day. I cried in the med room every night. I averaged 12 to 14 patients a night. Oh my God, run fast. My very first coach, she sat at the nurse's station and never offered support or help. Never stepped foot in the room. I'll never forget that. Looking back though, it made me a stronger nurse. I think, yes, I understand that perspective because when you come from a facility that is just like a dumpster fire, total shit show, I think it really does in some way make you a better nurse and able to handle things, but it doesn't make it okay to have to go through those kinds of things. At 12 to 14 patients is just insane, and it's unsafe, and nobody can take care of that many people. I'm very sorry that happened to you, especially after your first coke, because that's also something very traumatizing, that there should be like resources for you to process that. I hope you also. All these people just need new jobs.
I think so too. What facility is that? What hospital is that? I mean, like, we'll run now. We'll run it fast. Oh my God.
But again, it's like I said, I know it's like a bit, let's just say that. But
right.
If any way you possibly can, don't put yourself in those situations.
Right. But to make a negative thing to be positive, I think that they get better, handle it, karate codes and be able to take care of, oh God, that's a huge load. 14 patients, 12 to 14 patients. Who does that? I mean, that's so sad though. I'm so sorry.
And it's true that there are facilities out there that, they really do be handling like 14, 15, 20 patients. That is insane. Like a nurse should only be handling maximum 4 patients. And the 2 of those patients can be critical, but the other 2 has to be stable.
Or lighter.
Like, but it's insane now that like you can have 3 like critical patient and the other one is also like verge of being critical. And it's normal.
It's like fighting for your life.
And it's normalized in our profession that it's okay to have those kind of things.
Yes.
And it's just, anyways, girl, we hope that you're good now. Okay.
I hope she finds a new job.
We love you. Okay. We love you. Next.
Oh my God. Why is it it's always the long ones? Okay. I'm not complaining. Yes. My mom had just been diagnosed with breast cancer for a second time. And this time it was stage 4. I'm so sorry. I rang her on my lunch break in the break room. There was nowhere else for me to call her. I didn't call her in front of my clients. It was on my break and not on company time. Okay, so she's not in the hospital, I think. I was told I wasn't allowed to call my recently diagnosed mom. She's from the UK because she spells mom M-U-M. Because it made people uncomfortable. I have never been so furious in my entire life. I saw red, laughed, and walked out. came back in and somehow manages to explain that there is literally nowhere else to ring her. The manager agreed, but she had to bring it up. Told me to take as long as needed, and she'd be having words with the people involved as she could see how angry I was.
I think people forget that we're humans first.
Right.
Before these jobs.
Yeah. I don't know what the policy is. That she was like calling to ring her mother in the break, on my lunch break in the break room.
Yeah, I think what's happening is she was at work. She found out her mother had a stage 4 breast cancer, and she called her mother, as she fucking should. Because if it was my mom and something like that so heavy happened, I will speak to my mom. I don't care. I will sit the fuck down because that's not like a fever. If it was a fever, I would probably be like, okay, let me finish my fucking job and do my shit. Like, even if I'm at work and I'm doing something and it's about my family, I would take that call about my family. Just because if you guys can care so much about your family, just like how some fucking family members out there be like, my dad has been waiting on the ice just for 5 minutes. Well, knowing that your mom was just diagnosed with goddamn stage 4 breast cancer, not even a fucking polyps, okay? I would sit the fuck down and know what the fuck is happening with my mom. No question asked. I will lose that fucking job, but I will never lose my fucking mom. I mean, in that sense, like, it's 50-50 kind of situation. Like, it's insane. Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Slay.
Period. Fucking slip.
I mean, next, I was a newly grad and licensed RN. My preceptor told me to shut my mouth. When I offered help to a blind patient with herniated disc in her back who just wanted her cup of coffee. She then told me that it wasn't my job to clean up vomit on patient who was handicapped, and I cleaned him up before clocking out anyways. She then lied to me about what type of car she drove when I was trying to make small talk to get to know her, and the same day, when we were leaving the hospital, she was in a 3 Series BMW. Sorry, it was so funny. She was so atrocious to me, and I vowed I would never be like her. Okay. Again, like, I don't understand this, like, instructor who are so miserable in life and then bring it to, like, future nursing student. Again, this nursing students, you guys are like the parents of these people.
Sure.
And like, once you send them off to college or to after teenage, which is basically nursing, they become who you treat them. And you guys are not realizing that this is what makes bully nurses, hateful nurses, and all this other kind of nurses. Other than the fact that there are some trauma and some shit that we don't know about other nurses. But big factor of why some nurses are mean is because of how they were treated. And unfortunately, some take that and turn it into positive, but some continue the cycle of toxic shit.
Some think, like, if I went through that, you have to go through that. I will say, I felt very lucky in the sense that my preceptors as a new grad nurse were like the most amazing nurses. Actually, one of them is still like my very best friend to this day. And so I think it's so important to have nurses who will mentor you at that time in your career, especially because it's such a formative time. I mean, you're literally learning how to take care of people. So my heart goes out to anybody who has those kind of like preceptors that are bullying them, because you have no choice. I mean, if that's who you get stuck with, it really sucks.
Yeah. Here you go, Daddy. We got 2 more.
2 more. Okay. Is it this bottom one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was suffering from PTSD from an abusive relationship. I escaped it. It's amazing. Was doing what I needed to do to get better. My boss at the time pulled me to the office with another manager. I was taking leave and they asked me why. Totally inappropriate. I decided to share with them like an idiot. Her response was, "We're not here to deal with the stuff that happened 20 years ago." Not knowing that I had escaped the relationship not months before. Not 20 years ago. Not knowing that I had escaped the relationship not months before. Not 20 years ago. I then told her to never ask me again about my leave. She later also shared with the entire staff why I was not there in the staff meeting. Thanks, like, from PW. May the Lord help whomever you are caring for as an RN. They'll need it.
Well, that's heavy. That's heavy as shit. I mean, like, first,
I was just trying to like think. I'm like, what?
oh my God. I think, like, first of all, like, I hope, like, whoever is listening in here and who's not a nurse realize that we are actually human. Just because, like, this story of, like, abusive relationship and stuff like that, we deal with this at work. And imagine going through that and then taking care of someone who it's like you know how like your patients are medicated with the drug that you should be medicated with because you're going through the same thing. Like, I'm treating a depressed person while I'm fucking depressed. That is insane. Like, I don't know how we nurses or like healthcare workers do it, of how we function mentally and properly even when we have those exact same fucking conditions as people are admitted for.
That's why I literally say this all the time. Like when people ask me the hardest part about nursing, you really think that it is taking care of people when you're not doing okay yourself. It is so hard to show up, and they always say like, "Oh, leave your problems at home." And it's like, yes, it sounds great in theory, but like when you get there, it's not easy. And so I always advise people, to take care of yourself first, because taking care of people is near impossible when you're really not doing okay.
Yep, and that's the hard part, I guess, because we're just so selfless and we always think about others. Because I think that's the reason why we became a nurse. It's just that we just care so much about other people over ourselves.
Yeah, then your own health takes a
That's very true. Yeah, exactly. This the whole reason why we're doing this is that. But, again, I could reiterate more about what Daddy Colton had said, that we got to take care of ourselves first before we could take care of others. But sometimes it's just hard. It's hard to do. That's why there's resources that you could use and, reach out, talk to a friend, find somebody else, or talk to a therapist, or shop, or travel, or die.
That's why it's just so bougie for everyone else to like ever be. Okay, our last situation in here. I shattered my leg in 5 places. Holy shit. The worst of it being oh my God. Okay, this is a very specific niche diagnosis. Trimalleolar fracture of the ankle joint.
Okay.
Those of you in the orthopedic field know that it's a debilitating injury with a poor outcome. I just had a baby less than a year ago, so I couldn't take FMLA leave as it's prohibited for 12 months after maternity leave. I had to go back to work 2 months later as I was out of sick leave and vacation time to med-surg. My unit manager would not let me use a crutch, cane, scooter, etc. She also forbade the charge nurse from assigning my patients room close together. She said that that was enabling me. I was in agony every day, clutching the hallway's railings to hop to my patient's room. It's 2 years later, I still have messed up ligaments in that joint and terrible pain every single day.
I think this is one you need to find someone from the billboards when you go drive to work.
You need to find a billboard.
Yeah. Call 1-800-SUE the supervisor or whatever. Sue the hospital. I think
You did the apprehension, right?
I mean, like, yeah, very true. I mean, like, you're like trimalleolar,
Whatever foot did it.
That was like a string of very bad luck.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but yeah, I think you don't deserve that treatment. Oh my God, like hobbling to work and wouldn't even put your patients like adjacent to each other.
Well, no.
Oh, is she punishing you?
Girl, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. Like, at the end of the day, again, and I think another problem in some unit is the fact that this is so true, though, of like they favor more of people who have worked there longer than those who just started. And they're like, oh, well, she's been here for 17 years and her job is good. I mean, like, if someone can treat someone like that, I'm pretty sure their job that they're doing is not good. They just know how to cover it up. Period. Oh my God, that is a lot of like really heavy shit we just read. You
That
guys.
I lighthearted and like it's like heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching. And for us 3 comedic people to read this kind of shit, it's crazy. Yeah, we need chicken nuggets after this, which we're actually going to have some chicken wings and everything like that. But before we end this episode, I think it would be nice for you, daddies, to give these people who have shared us stories. Again, thank you for every single one of you who have shared your stories. I know it's not easy to talk about those kind of things because it kind of brings you back to the trauma and stuff like that. But, sometimes talking about those kind of things too helps you kind of like relieve yourself from that experience. And it should never be like a nightmare for you to like go through. But thank you again. And I think our listeners right now would love to get you guys' advice as nurses and to those people who are dealing with this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, go.
No me to start?
Yeah.
Yes, I think my parting advice would be to we kind of touched on it. And like I said, I know we may be speaking from a point of privilege of just saying like find a new job. But even if you can't immediately find something new, I think just remembering that there's always a way out. You're never stuck in a situation, even if it feels like you are. There's always a way out. You may just have to, jump through a few extra hoops than somebody else to get there. But just remember, like, your job is something that you're going to have to show up to for so many hours of your life. If you're miserable, if it's toxic, if it's draining your energy, for whatever reason, then, you need to prioritize yourself and take care of yourself because you have one life and, get out as soon as you can.
Daddy Colton had said it very well. But to add to it, I always come from a place of gratefulness. I'm always grateful for what I've been given. But if it's too much for you to bear, then you really have to weigh your options. There could be other things that you could possibly do, potentially do, and you could potentially do well. You don't have to dwell on something that's driving you crazy, that's driving you mad. If you have other options, explore other options, but always be thankful for whatever you're given.
Period.
And for myself, only I can tell you guys is Daddy Dazo is falling asleep. And he has a headache.
His blood sugar's dropping.
His blood sugar is dropping. He hasn't eaten for 2 hours. Because even though we just ate. But,
Why? Did I close my eyes when I was talking?
you were literally like this, Daddy Dazo. I was like, that is such a Filipino lolo to do. But anyways, we just gotta keep it lighthearted a bit, you guys, because it was so happy. But
It was so happy.
I was really happy. Hey,
You
guys.
need to double down on the antidepressants.
Oh my God. But for me, again, like I always tell you, besties, it's realizing, again, at the end of the day, it's work and you're there to work. And that whatever happens, these people can be your friends. These people can be your family. Honestly, I have met so many people in my, time as a nurse, and these people become friends, like close friends, family, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you should not risk your own life or risk your own mental health, physical and emotional health just for that same exact job that is like taking it away from you. I think it's good to recognize at the end of the day, like Daddy Colton said, is that you're just a number in the healthcare system. Tomorrow they will find someone who does the same exact thing as you, and done. He's so old. Like my patient will literally burp with just nowhere. Like fart burp nowhere. Like they don't.
I was headed up.
But yeah, you're just a number at the end of the day, and just like that, don't sacrifice too much of yourself for this job, even though, already what you're giving to this job is enough. Okay? Anything over that is just you as a person. But at the end of the day, again, like if you are sacrificing this much and they cannot even give you a PTO, a day off, because they're short staffed, when you have taken so much over fucking time for that same fucking unit and have put yourself through that like the shithole of that unit, you don't deserve to be there. Like don't feel like you're weak or you're not good enough. You are good enough, and I can tell you right now, someone will hire you tomorrow. That's all I can tell you. So choose something that's making you happy. Choose something that's going to be good for yourself. If it's not nursing, again, another thing I keep telling people is that if nursing is a struggle right now for you and it's taking a lot of toll in your life, try something else. If you want to be a hairdresser, if you want to be a florist, if you want to be a traveler, do whatever the hell you want. I've seen so many nurses out there who are doing other jobs than that, and like, do it.
Nursing can like be the side hustle.
Exactly.
Your whole identity doesn't have to be in that.
Exactly. Your whole personality, and like but you can be like, oh my God, but I went through school. I've had a hard time getting to. I know, but like again, like if it's a lot right now, don't do it. It is too much. It is true. We're fucked up. Okay? So just save yourself and love yourself and know that you are human first before you're a nurse.
And you are loved.
And you are what?
Loved.
Love. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of your I Beg Your Pardon podcast. And I hope you guys learn something from us, even though we're all tired right now because it's around like midnight and we had a show and Daddy Dazo is, past bedtime right now.
Maybe too.
And even, oh my God, you're not Gen X, you're millennial.
Like on the cusp. Depends on where you look. It's a millennial Gen Z.
Yeah, we're basically old fuckers.
And you both are the same age. Or are you younger?
I'm older.
He's a year. Well,
I'm a year older.
What is your birthday?
May 8th. In 3 weeks. See, Daddy Dazo is sundowning.
remember we talked.
No, 30 weeks. Oh my God, I would remember that. Brewster's birthday.
My 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. And where can people find you guys in social media?
Yeah, we have Nurse Daddies, NURSEDADDIES, on Instagram, TikTok,
And Facebook,
which I don't have access.
Oh my God.
We should those. Okay. We have something to like figure out. And Daddy Colton, I know you got a podcast. You got some stuff going on. Share it to them.
Oh, I mean, I do have a podcast, but my personal podcast I've stopped doing, but I have a new podcast coming up. I don't know if I can announce it yet.
Not yet.
Well,
You can.
It'll give it.
I don't even have a name for it, but it'll be coming out in a couple weeks, so we'll be posting about it. It'll be on like the nurse.org platform. So you guys can take it.
Just wait for it and you'll see it. And again, follow the Nurse Daddies. They have so much in for themselves. It's 2025 and they are the best daddies out there. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure that you follow us on Apple or Spotify podcasts. Share this episode. Leave us a 5-star review. And make sure that you get yourself some tour tickets and come see me on the Short Staff Tour. And the daddies are going to be in some of those really surprising cities. So you better get yourself some tickets. You know what I mean? And get your Philly skincare, www.phillyskin.com. We love you guys so much. I will see you guys again for the next episode of your favorite caffeinated, medicated, and never hydrated nurse, Nurse John. We love you guys. Bye.
I'm off to bed.
Yeah, we're going to send it into bed right now. We'll love you guys. Bye.
Bye.